This is the UARKFCA Timeout, the podcast where coaches and athletes share what God has done and is continuing to do in their lives. Welcome back to the podcast. Adam Clark joining me today. Adam, so glad to have you here.
Always.
Man, hey, let us warm up a little bit. Tell us a little bit, just tell us your story. Who are you? What do you do at the University of Arkansas? And a little bit of your background, and tell us when you started following Jesus for the first time.
So, name is Adam Clark. I am a senior here at the University of Arkansas, former track and field athlete. I used to do high jump here. And, I'm originally from California, went to Houston, my middle school, played basketball there, and then got recruited for track and field. So that's how I ended up here. And how I started following Jesus was my parents were raised me in the church. They were Monday through Sunday. They were in the church. Dad worked or sang. He was a singer at the church, and my mom worked. So that led me to be in the church every single day with them. Choir practice, Sunday service, Bible study, you name it, I'm there. So, yeah, I was basically in there every single day with my parents.
So there's people that say that they're like, I was raised in the church, but like you were literally raised in the church.
100%. Jumping off the pews and all types of stuff when I was a little kid.
That was your playground.
Yeah, literally. So.
Now, I happen to know a little bit of your story, and I would love for you to kind of expand on this. You were raised in the church, yes, and then you came to college, and maybe things changed a little bit, and you can explain that as in much detail as you want. But then, kind of as you walked through that, there was maybe not a came to follow Jesus for the first time moment, but a kind of I want to say rededication, or kind of like you decided, okay, now I'm ready to start taking this seriously again. Tell us a little bit about kind of that part of your story.
Yeah, definitely. So I came into college as a reckless boy that wanted to do what he wanted to do. It was no limits. You're in a new world, basically. So I came in doing any and everything, and it caught up to me because during that time of being in the church 24/7, it was something that was kind of forced, but I wouldn't say my parents really forced the religion on me. It was just, I was in there every day. I saw it, I heard it. It was early mornings. What 10, 11-year-old wants to wake up at 7:30 to get to church on time and, dress up, button down. But, so by the time I get to college, I'm like, I don't have to wake up that early. I'm not going. Why? Why would I go? I don't have any limits. So, freshman year, went down that path, and it was just taking a toll on me. And people could see it, but, everybody's around me, that was COVID year, so everybody's trying to get around and do the same thing. But around my sophomore year, I just became somebody that I didn't want to look in the mirror at. Like, I couldn't recognize myself. My parents instilled this sweet, caring, loving guy, and that's no longer who I was. So that instillment from when I was young just came back and was like, it was something that I knew I could lean on. Jesus was there. I knew Jesus was there, but it was kind of like, I'm a little ashamed. Like, what happened? Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? So it was like that call. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't be doing these things. So let's figure out how to get myself back to the Adam that I know I am. So that involved me personally just trying to do it myself, which didn't work because, like anybody that's trying to, change, I'm gonna change. It's like new year, new me. That's never the way it actually goes. So it was a new season, new Adam, and then it just kept failing. And that's when I realized, hey, you need to lean on somebody, like call out. If you don't want to do it with this person, do it with your closest friends. So me and my boy John, we both were at lunch or dinner. It was dinner. And at that time, we were both kind of just going to the track Bible study. And that's when you had came up to Shaka and was like, hey, are you going to FCA? And me and John had both been like, hey, you want to go to FCA? Nah, not today. I'm tired. Like, I'm sore. I just rolled out or whatever. But that day, we both decided to go, and that's the day that me and him both locked in with you for one-on-ones, and I think we've been meeting for 2 years, 2.5, maybe?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So,
Definitely.
man, I feel like that's so, that story of like, man, I'm gonna change.
Right.
I'm gonna figure this out, and then we fail. And then I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been in that place where I feel worse than when
Right.
I started.
Right.
I had all the best intentions in the world, and I feel worse, just because I try to do things by my own strength and my own power, and I failed. But it was community. There was that community that you found first. Maybe the desire to want to change was there.
Right.
You couldn't do it on your own. You found the community in the track huddle. It's kind of that first step. And then being around the right people at the right place at the right time, you found yourself at a Monday night huddle. And then kind of the rest is history,
Exactly.
as they say. So it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since that dinner where you got that awkward invitation that you decided to accept to come to Monday night huddle. And over the last 2 years, I know you and I've got together a lot. You've gotten plugged in to a local church.
Yes.
Man, God's probably been teaching you a lot over the last 2 years. I'm just kind of curious, man. What's one or two things maybe, or just what's the most important thing that you feel like God's really taught this kind of new dedication of Adam to Him over the last year or two?
The more and more that I think or thought about it, there's never really just one answer, but if I could sum it up, I'd have like 3 main points, which is 1, you're not alone, 1 or 2, to stay patient, and 3, never let somebody else besides the Lord define who you are. Because going through this college experience, people are going to be quick to name you, call you all sorts of things, but behind the scenes, everybody that Jesus hung out with back in the Bible days was poor. They were sinners. We're all sinners. And so, like, who is so-and-so to define who you are? Never let anybody define who you are besides the Lord, because He made you in His image. And, so that patience, because the timing that you think that you're going to get something is never the actual time that God is going to allow you to have it. Because throughout my whole collegiate career, I was like, oh, like if I could jump the 7-foot bar, I know I'll get scholarship money. I know I'll do this. I know I'll do that. I'm a senior now, no longer competing in track and field, and I never hit that bar. So the avenue that I had to take in order to get right here wasn't jumping a 7-foot bar. It was meeting the right people, getting into Arkansas with my PR, having the ups and downs that I already had throughout my sophomore and freshman year, growing, enjoying the journey, becoming somebody that actually enjoys waking up and putting in a smile or having a smile on my face. So that as well. And then just allowing the light to move through you. So I'd say those three things have been what I've, I guess, enjoyed about my journey specifically.
So you're not alone. Be patient, and don't let anybody but the Lord define who you are. Which, man, I love that. I love that. Man, on that first one, man, being alone.
Right.
I feel like that's something that there's a lot of people that we can be surrounded by a ton of people. We can find ourselves in, at the right places or the places that we think are the right places, as far as from like a social perspective, but we can still feel alone. Man, what would you say, or what would you have to say to somebody like that might be like, on the outset they look like they've got it all made,
right?
But inside they feel that loneliness. What would you say to somebody like that?
I would say that truly you're never alone, because those thoughts that you're having in your head are stemming from somebody, or not somebody, but something. So it's either the Holy Spirit or it's Satan, and those battles, it's just like the cartoon shows. You have you have the little devil, and then you have the Holy Spirit right there next to you. So you're never truly alone. And if you really, really dive in to the Word and just pray, the Holy Spirit will answer. It might not be a physical yes, no, a physical you can do it, like you're enough. It'll be hey, you met this person and this person says something that made you feel that way today. It made you rethink how you used to think, or that person may be taking you in a different path and opening these doors for you. And you had no idea that this person would even do this for you. But he brings things in different ways that you would have never imagined. It might not be a person, it might not be a thing, it might not even be anything materialistic. It could be thoughts. You wake up and you're like, oh wow, like today's gonna be a great day. And it's like, I've never thought like that before. But definitely there are other people out there like that as well. If you feel like that, there's probably, you might get in a deep conversation with your best friend and he's feeling the same exact way.
Yeah.
Because going through my own experience, I personally have always been surrounded by multiple people. I have a lot of friends and a lot of people that know me, and I know a lot of people. But around that time, I can also feel like I have nobody around me at the same time. It'll be like somebody will ask me, this was a question not too long ago. They would be like, oh, like if you were in this situation, who would you call on? And then of course I said John, because that's like my best friend. Yeah. But they were like, no, other than that. And I had to sit down and really think, like, I don't know. I don't have any other like solid, super tight connections, but it's just because that's how I've been trained to think. It's like, oh, you're alone. You're not, because you have John, you have multiple other people in your circle that would do anything for you. And so I'm talking about people a lot, but then you also have to remember in the back of your head, the one person that I lean back on after 10, 12 years was Jesus. And he opened arms. He was open arms the whole time. Right.
It's amazing, man. Yeah, I think of that verse that says, like, anyone who calls upon the name of the Lord will not be put to shame.
Right.
And I think that's man, if I feel alone, if I'm somebody that feels alone, man, call out to God.
Right.
And he just might answer you, just like he did for you in some of those moments, just like he's done for me. So in kind of these three things, again, you're never alone, be patient, and don't let anybody else define you. As you kind of think of these other than God, if you think about those three things over the last couple of years, you said that's kind of like your walk is maybe summarized maybe in those three things.
Right.
How have you seen yourself put those into practice, or how have they changed your actual daily walk? And how might, if somebody else was feeling like, man, I need some patience, or I feel alone, or I'm tired of other people defining me, what are things that you would say, man, these are good practices that I implemented into my life that changed my day-to-day, my week-to-week, my month-to-month?
For sure. I would say, well, one, starting off with not being alone, is just don't be afraid to communicate. That was my thing. I bottled things up and I would let it sit and boil to the point where it would burst. And so whenever it would burst, it would either hurt relationships, friendships, all sorts of, my relationship with the Lord, it would just ruin a lot of things. So I'd say communicate, whether that's a journal, you communicate with yourself, your journal, praying, that's communication, reading, because you'll have the fuel to pray, and friendship, community. And so that's very important because, like I said, I felt alone, so I wouldn't communicate a lot of things to everyone else, but I was feeling the weight of everything. So definitely communication in multiple different ways, however you guys want to interpret that.
But I think that's journal, pray, read, be in community.
Right.
I mean, that's four super practical. Somebody can go buy a journal today. Anybody, it doesn't cost you anything to put your hands together and pray. I mean, I think that's four really good practical things on, if you're feeling, what about patience? Like how do you practice, or have you practiced patience?
That is a hard one, because everybody, I feel as if they feel that, oh, I know what patience is. I am a very patient person. Like, I've got that down packed. Like, I feel as if you don't realize what patience is until you're tested. I've been waiting to hit this 7-foot bar since I was in 8th grade. I am 21 now. When I started high jump, I was 12. I'm 21 now, still haven't hit it. But that was my ultimate goal. Like, imagine writing something down, being like, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to be so-and-so one day. I put my definition into this bar, and yet it wasn't what was planned for me. And I guess learning patience allowed me to accept, hey, high jump isn't you. It's what I'm allowing you to do in order to meet these people, in order to get you on this track that I want you to do. So I feel like patience isn't just the waiting aspect. It's embracing what you actually, like the journey. To sum it up, what I was about to say is just embracing the journey instead of, oh, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
That's not patience. Patience is embracing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And the last one, the not letting anybody define you. Okay, what's the best way, practically speaking, that you would say, this is what I do to remind myself that God defines me, that it's not anybody else who defines me?
I'd say if you have the ability, get a community or a couple people that allow you to truly be yourself. Surround yourself with people like-minded that are on the same track as you, that will not judge you for anything that you're doing. They will take accountability. You need to take accountability, but will not judge you for the small things of how you express yourself. Because if you're looking at me personally, I have tattoos, I dye my hair, I have piercings. I'm not the most pure human being that you might see on the street, but that doesn't mean that I'm not a God-fearing guy. So I feel like to have those people in your corner, that to be like, hey, like, I'm not going to judge you for that, or just having people that are open enough to have an open mind and have those conversations. I feel like that's very important, as well as just testing yourself. Because like, my parents instilled in me, they were like, no tattoos, no tattoos, no tattoos. I'm like, to me, I feel like
they've seen your arm.
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah.
I hit a couple from it. But it's like, it's a way of expressing me. And with these tattoos, I might not be able to get into a door, but another door is open that I can get into, and God is going to allow me to work in that door.
That's right.
So no matter what you do, as long as it's not shaming the Lord, I feel as if you can express yourself in a safe and controlled way that you don't allow anybody to
I love
define that.
That's so good, man. Yeah, you will certainly have opportunities to take the gospel places that that other people may not even think to go to,
Right.
which is amazing. And when you kind of surrender yourself of like, no, God is the one who defines who I am. That's like the first step in moving through that door, as you were to
Accepting
say.
yourself.
Man, that's amazing. Well, Adam, thank you so much for being on here with me today. Thank you so much for telling your story and a little bit of what you learned lately. But man, I really do appreciate the practical application of the things that you've implemented into your life, and hope that somebody out there is going to be able to say, you know, I feel like I can start there. So,
Yes,
man, thank
sir.
you so much for being on. Appreciate you, brother.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of UARKFCA Timeout. If you enjoyed the story, learned something new, or both, consider subscribing and sharing this episode with a friend. You can follow us online at UARKFCA, and always remember to take the time out to recognize that you have a powerful story too.